What is the scariest modern horror movie you've ever watched? Was it something we can now call a modern classic, like The Exorcism of Emily Rose or the Saw franchise? A found footage nightmare like Wreck or the once unstoppable Paranormal Activity? The highly discussed Substance? Sinister? Honestly, it no longer matters. Because today, on Top Today, we're diving into a carefully curated list of the absolute best horror movies of the 21st century. I should warn you, I have prepared a unique list of amazing movies, mostly far from the mainstream and genuinely horrifyingly scary. In the previous video about the most disturbing films of the 21st century, you shared an incredible amount of unique and truly disturbed movies that perfectly fit the theme. You guys are amazing, and I'm counting on your help this time as well. Share your favorites in the comments. You might help me or others discover something truly terrifying. Number 13. Skinamarink, 2022. Skinamarink isn't a typical horror movie. It's more like being trapped inside a childhood nightmare. The story is simple on paper. Two siblings wake up one night to find their father gone, and soon realize that doors and windows are disappearing, leaving the house sealed in darkness. What makes the film disturbing is how it's shot. Instead of traditional scenes, you get long, grainy shots of ceilings, dark hallways, corners of rooms, and an old TV playing cartoons. Sometimes nothing happens for an uncomfortably long time. And that's exactly the point. Your brain starts doing the work, filling the silence with dread. And just when you finally relax, the film hits you with one of the most terrifying jump scares I've ever seen in a movie. Oh my God. It works exactly the way it should. I spent a long time deciding whether I should show that moment here, and I chose not to. It's something you need to experience for yourself. Yes, it's that good. But there's one condition. You have to watch the entire film and fully tune into its rhythm for it to work. The movie's rating isn't very high, and honestly, I can understand why. Still, that single moment alone earns Skinamarink a place on this list. Number 12. Weapons, 2025. This is the only truly brand new movie on this list. Don't worry, from this point on, we'll be talking about far more niche and unique films. But I simply had to include Weapons here. Weapons earns its place because it brings fresh air into the horror genre. It's smart, unsettling, and deeply uncomfortable in ways modern mainstream horror rarely dares to be. The film doesn't rely on cheap scares. Instead, it slowly tightens the tension, building paranoia, dread, and a creeping sense that something is fundamentally wrong. And it works because, as a viewer, you gradually start suspecting everyone. On top of that, the film is packed with hidden meanings and buried ideas. We've already broken those down on the channel. You can check out the full review in the corner if you're interested. There's a lot more going on here than it seems at first glance. As for the plot, without spoilers and straight to the point. One night, several children from the same class disappear without a trace. No struggle, no witnesses, just gone. As the town tries to understand what happened, suspicion spreads between parents, teachers, and neighbors. Everyone has secrets. Everyone hides something. A sharp, modern horror, and one I genuinely enjoyed watching in a movie theater for the first time in a long while. Number 11. Caveat. Caveat is one of those horror films that proves you don't need a big budget to be absolutely terrifying. This is pure, stripped-down dread. Slow, claustrophobic, and deeply unsettling from the very first minutes. The setup is deceptively simple. A man accepts a strange job, to look after a woman in a remote house on a small island. There's only one condition. For his own safety, he must wear a heavy chain attached to the wall. From that moment on, the film traps both the character and the viewer in a constant state of anxiety. What makes Caveat so effective is its atmosphere. The house feels wrong. The silence is oppressive. Every dark corner feels like it's hiding something you don't want to see. The film doesn't rush. It lets fear crawl under your skin, slowly and relentlessly. And when the horror finally reveals itself, it doesn't feel earned through shock. It feels inevitable. There are images in this movie that genuinely stay with you long after it ends, and the jump scares are executed brilliantly. You'll definitely enjoy them. Let me show you one of them. Get ready. Number 10. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005. This is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. I first watched it when I was around 13, the same age I saw Requiem for a Dream. But unlike Requiem, Emily Rose I fully understood, and honestly, it scared the hell out of me. At school, one of my friends even downloaded recordings of Emily's last words.
Nu brukar snudda på det livet.
And that just made everything feel even more mysterious and terrifying. The movie is loosely based on a real case, the tragic story of a German girl named Anneliese Michel, who underwent dozens of exorcisms in the 1970s after suffering seizures and other symptoms that her family believed were demonic possession. In real life, she died from malnutrition and dehydration after months of ritual, and the priests and her parents were later charged with negligent homicide. What makes Emily Rose so creepy is the way it blends real fear with the supernatural. The film doesn't just show hauntings and demons, it forces you to ask, is this possession or something medical? Throughout the movie, we see the story from both sides, science and religion battling over what's really happening. The acting is solid all around. The priest, the lawyers, and especially the actress playing Emily, every performance makes the fear feel real, immediate, and unsettling. The way the movie builds dread is genius. It's not just jump scares, it's the claustrophobic atmosphere, the strange sounds, the flickering lights, and the constant sense that something purely evil is right there, waiting. Highly recommend to all who skipped it in past. Number 9. 1408. This spot was one of the hardest to decide. I had a lot of strong contenders. Massive horror hits like Insidious, found footage staples like Wreck, VHS, or As Above, So Below. All of them are great. All of them scared a lot of people. But in the end, I decided to give this place to a film that might not technically deserve such a high ranking for everyone, but it absolutely does for me. I already did that with number 10, so why stop now? I'm talking about 1408, the adaptation of Stephen King's short story about a haunted hotel room. When I was younger, this movie terrified me just as much as The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Not with jump scares, but in a quiet, lingering way that stayed with me long after the credits rolled. Honestly, I think 1408 is the exact film that turned me into a Stephen King fan. The story follows a skeptical paranormal writer, played by John Cusack. He doesn't believe in the supernatural and makes a living exposing haunted places. So when he checks into room 1408, he expects just another cheap myth. But the room doesn't try to scare him right away. Instead, it traps him. The longer he stays inside, the more the room starts attacking his mind. Time loops, reality bends, and his own guilt and personal trauma are used against him. There's no clear enemy, no rules, and no escape. Just a space that seems to know him better than he knows himself. The film has multiple endings, which divided audiences. And while some people criticize John Cusack's performance here, for me, it works perfectly. And despite its psychological focus, 1408 also delivers some genuinely effective jump scares. So if you skip this film for some reason, I honestly recommend giving it a chance. Number 8. Satan's Slaves, 2017. If you think you know horror, Satan's Slaves will make you reevaluate your nightmares. This Indonesian film is a masterclass in slow burn tension, combining folk horror, family drama, and creeping dread in a way few modern horror movies dare. The story begins with a grieving family. After the death of their mother, strange things start happening in their old house. Lights flicker, whispers echo, and the children seem to sense an unseen presence. As the supernatural events intensify, dark secrets about the family's past are revealed, and it becomes clear that something ancient and evil is watching them. What makes Satan's Slaves so terrifying isn't just the jump scares, though they're expertly timed. It's the atmosphere. The film makes you feel trapped in the house alongside the family. Every shadow, every creak of the floorboards, every quiet corner feels like it could hide something ready to strike. This film also stands out because it's based on a real Indonesian classic from 1980, and the director pays homage while adding a modern, terrifying twist. The acting is strong, the visuals are haunting, and the tension never lets up. It's chilling, beautifully crafted, and proves that great horror doesn't need to be American or high budget. A must-watch if you want to feel genuine fear that lingers long after the credits roll. Number 7. The Autopsy of Jane Doe, 2016. If you love horror that slowly seeps under your skin, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is pure perfection. This film is a claustrophobic, tense, and cleverly crafted descent into fear that never relies on cheap scares. Instead, it builds dread with every quiet, unsettling moment. The story is deceptively simple. A father and son team of coroners, played brilliantly by Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, are tasked with examining the body of an unidentified woman, Jane Doe. At first, it seems like a routine autopsy, but as they peel back layer after layer, strange injuries appear, bizarre phenomena occur, and it becomes clear that the corpse is far from ordinary, and that something evil is slowly closing in on them. What makes this movie terrifying isn't just the supernatural elements, it's the sense of isolation. The mortuary feels small, cold, and suffocating. Every sound, shadow, and twitch of the corpse amplifies the tension, and the film keeps you guessing until the very end. The Autopsy of Jane Doe also stands out for its intelligence and restraint. The scares are earned, the plot is tight, and the atmosphere is so immersive that you genuinely feel trapped alongside the characters. For me, this is one of the most effective modern horror films. Claustrophobic, unnerving, and unforgettable. Number 6. House LLC, 2015. If you love horror that feels painfully real, House LLC is one of the most unsettling films of the 21st century. This found-footage gem doesn't just rely on jump scares. It immerses you in dread, making you feel like you're part of the haunted experience. The story is set in 2009, when a teen prepares a Halloween haunted house attraction called Hell House in an abandoned hotel. Everything seems normal at first, but on opening night, a horrifying tragedy occurs, killing multiple people in ways that are never fully explained. Years later, a documentary crew investigates the site, uncovering footage, recordings, and chilling secrets of what really went wrong that night. What makes House LLC so effective is the realism. The found footage style, combined with clever camera work, makes every shadow, every flicker of light, and every strange sound feel immediately terrifying. The hotel itself becomes a character, claustrophobic, dark, and full of hidden dangers. The tension builds slowly but relentlessly. You never feel safe, and even when nothing is happening, you're waiting for something horrible to appear. The film's scares are smart, methodical, and hit exactly when they should, leaving you breathless and on edge. House LLC proves that you don't need a huge budget to create intense, memorable horror. It's a must-watch for anyone who wants to feel the fear of being trapped somewhere you shouldn't be, and it's one of those rare films that sticks with you long after the screen goes dark. Number 5. Lake Mungo, 2008. Lake Mungo is one of the most haunting, soul-deep horror films I've ever seen. The story is framed as a documentary. After 16-year-old Alice Palmer tragically drowns, her family starts experiencing strange occurrences in their home. Photos, videos, and personal recordings reveal mysterious figures, cryptic messages, and ghostly presences. As the family investigates, they slowly uncover shocking secrets about Alice's life, and about the truth behind her death. What makes Lake Mungo terrifying is its realism and subtlety. The film doesn't rely on cheap jump scares. Instead, it uses found footage, interviews, and home videos to create a sense that the supernatural could be hiding anywhere. Every quiet moment, every small anomaly builds tension until the horror becomes almost unbearable. It's a horror movie that feels intimate and personal. You're not just watching a story, you're intruding on a family's grief and secrets. The combination of emotional depth, clever storytelling, and eerie visuals makes this a modern classic of psychological horror. If you want horror that gets under your skin in the quietest way possible, Lake Mungo is an absolute must-watch. Number 4. Ju-on, The Grudge, 2002. Now we're heading to Japan, into films that many people, back then and even now, call the scariest they've ever seen. To be honest, I considered putting Pulse, 2001 here, but there are so many other Japanese horror films we could talk about, so I saved that for another list I'll make in the future. Today's pick is Ju-on, a relentless, bone-chilling nightmare from start to finish. This is a film that doesn't just scare you for a moment. It sticks in your mind and refuses to let go. The story is deceptively simple. A house in Tokyo becomes cursed after a violent death, and anyone who enters is doomed to the wrath of vengeful spirits. The curse spreads unpredictably, jumping from person to person, with no clear beginning or end, creating an atmosphere of inescapable dread. What makes Ju-on so terrifying is its non-linear storytelling and merciless tension. The ghosts, Kayako and Toshio, are iconic because they are unforgiving, silent, and utterly unnatural, haunting every frame without explanation. Every creak, shadow, or sudden appearance is designed to make you feel powerless and anxious, as if the curse could reach you next. Even though it's one of the most famous Japanese horror films, Ju-on still feels unique and uncompromising. Its influence can be seen in countless Western remakes and modern horror, but the original remains far scarier. For me, this is one of the ultimate 21st century horror experiences. If you've been putting off watching it, don't wait any longer. This film is genuinely terrifying and absolutely worth your time. Number 3, The Wailing, 2016. Now we're talking about a unique and truly terrifying film that many of you have probably missed. Unfortunately, this often happens with niche horror. These movies don't scream for attention on posters, but they can scare you far more than any blockbuster. The Wailing is a slow-burning, gut-wrenching nightmare that blends supernatural terror, folklore, and psychological horror into one unforgettable experience. Here's the setup. In a quiet rural village in South Korea, mysterious deaths and violent outbreaks begin to terrify the locals. Policeman Jong-gu tries to investigate, but events spiral out of control when a mysterious stranger arrives, secrets come to light, and the line between the living and the dead becomes terrifyingly blurred. What makes The Wailing so effective is its unpredictable tension. The film is full of creeping dread, shocking moments, and an atmosphere that keeps you on edge from start to finish. Every shadow, sound, and subtle movement feels loaded with menace, making you question who, or what, you can trust. It's also a deeply layered story, exploring superstition, fear, and human reaction to evil in ways few modern horror films dare to. The cinematography, pacing, and performances combine to create an experience that haunts you long after the credits roll. If you're looking for a horror film that's truly unforgettable, chilling, and unlike anything else in modern cinema, The Wailing is a must-watch. Number 2, Hereditary, 2018. In recent years, horror has delivered a surprising number of visually striking and genuinely interesting films. Movies like Bring Her Back or Together prove that modern horror can be bold, stylish, and ambitious. But among all of these visually impressive films, there's one that still stands above the rest for me. That film is Hereditary. Even though Hereditary is widely known, I'm placing it at number 2 today, and for good reason. When it was released, it didn't just scare audiences. It felt like a rebirth of the genre, redefining what modern horror could look and feel like. The story follows the Graham family after the death of their secretive grandmother. Strange events begin to unfold. Objects move on their own, disturbing visions appear, and long-buried secrets start to surface. As grief and tension grow, it becomes clear that something sinister and otherworldly is slowly closing in on the family. What makes Hereditary so effective is the balance between psychological horror and supernatural dread. The tension builds patiently, making even the quietest moments feel suffocating. The scares aren't just jump scares, though they hit hard. They're emotional, relentless, and deeply disturbing. Much of the film's power comes from Toni Collette and Alex Wolff, whose performances are nothing short of incredible. Fear, grief, and desperation bleed through every scene, pulling you deeper into the nightmare. Some of the most terrifying moments arrive suddenly, yet feel inevitable once they happen. Combined with meticulous cinematography, lighting, and an unforgettable, deeply unsettling score, Hereditary creates an atmosphere that lingers long after the film ends. It's not just a horror movie, it's a full-on haunting experience. Number 1, Noroi The Curse, 2005. Sorry, Ring fans. The original Ringu came out in 1999, which puts it outside this list. And while the American remake is iconic, it ultimately falls short of the original. Anyway, we will talk about them later. And finally, we reach number 1. Noroi The Curse is a found-footage mockumentary that doesn't rely on shock value. Instead, it slowly pulls you into a growing sense of dread that never lets go. The story follows Masafumi Kobayashi, an investigative journalist who begins looking into a series of mysterious events, including disappearances, bizarre rituals, and strange phenomena linked to an ancient demon called Kagutaba. As he digs deeper, what starts as a simple investigation turns into a nightmarish chain of supernatural horrors, with evidence, interviews, and footage all pointing to a terrifying conclusion. What makes Noroi so effective is its authentic, documentary-style approach. The shaky camera, news clips, and personal recordings make everything feel real, and that makes the horror far more personal and intense. There's a creeping inevitability to the events, where you know something terrible is coming, but you can't look away. The scares are psychologically crushing, It's not about cheap jump scares, it's the relentless tension, unsettling sound design, and disturbing imagery that burrows into your mind. Every moment builds on the last, leading to a finale that is as shocking as it is horrifying, a moment that will haunt you long after the credits roll. And that's it for today. Yes, I know this list is controversial and highly subjective, but I'm sharing the films that truly stayed with me and left an impact. Trust me, I still have plenty more to talk about. From the most disturbing experiences to unconventional, atmospheric horror that doesn't always make it into typical lists. But for now, that's all. Feel free to share your favorite horror films in the comments. I'm always curious to see what scared you the most. And if you enjoyed this list, consider liking the video and